Alright, so I felt that my last video wasn't that great. It was very long, it had some misinformation because I'm still quite new to Diablo 3. And I did it just completely in the wrong order. So if you just want to see my build, I will put all the skills up right now. These are all the skills I got, and pause now if you want to see that more. So there you go, that's a really quick one. If you don't want to listen to what I have to say from here on, then you have seen it, now you know the build. But if you do want to hear how this works and how I thought with it, then sure, keep watching. In this build I'll definitely go with maximum hatred. After that I would go with movement speed to make stuff a little bit faster, and as a third I've actually put everything in vitality. As offense, cooldown reduction is the most important in this build. Go full out on cooldown reduction. You don't need that much attack speed. Actually, don't go with attack speed because it just drains your hatred faster. Then I went with the critical hit damage, and after that I went with the critical hit chance. Here I went with the resistance for all first. There isn't much here to say, actually. It's just kind of optional, all of them, but I've gone with resistance to all, then life, then armor, and now life generation. Resource cost reduction is a pretty important one, and I also went with life per hit as a second one, and also, let's see, area damage, then gold fine. Then we need to go through the Kanai's powers so that you understand the set. I got Dawn, it's a crossbow, reduce the cooldown of vengeance by 65%, and you do want a gem in the helm, and you do want some pieces that lower the cooldown further to be able to be in vengeance all the time. This is a vengeance build, so you're going to be in vengeance all the time. It's gonna take a little while until you get there. Might be out of vengeance for a little while first until you get the correct pieces, but it will just be like a second or so. The armor, I put vengeance gains the effect of the dark heart rune, and that's from the visage of goons. Yeah, I'm not sure how to say it. Anyway, it makes vengeance have the dark heart rune, and what the dark heart rune does is it removes 50% of your damage taken while you're in vengeance, and we're gonna be in vengeance all the time, so that's like a huge mitigation factor there, damage mitigation. As a jewelry, I got the Star of Ascarant, prevent all fire damage taken and heal yourself for 15% of the amount prevented. Now, in my opinion, fire is the most dangerous thing in this game. It's like traps, it's like area stuff, explosions, abilities, and many bosses use fire. There is a lot of fire, so yeah, I went with fire. I think it's really nice to be immune against fire, and there is also a combination with this in the set that I'm gonna go through. Let's have a look at the set bonuses here. Of course, I'm using the Marauder set. Companions, call all companions to your side. That's great, it makes all your pets be there. The 4 set bonus is sentries deal 400% increased damage and cast elemental arrow, chakram, impale, multishot, and cluster arrow when you do. So we are using cluster arrow, and this makes all sentries fire cluster arrow at the same time. The 6 set is your primary skills: elemental arrow, chakram, impale, multishot, cluster arrow, companions, that's a huge one, and also vengeance deal 1200% increased damage for every active sentry. And we're gonna have 5 sentries, so make sure to have those all out all the time for the maximum amount of damage. And we didn't go through the skills, so let's just jump back a little bit there. The cluster arrow, I got loaded for bear. You can take whatever you like, I just prefer that one. It seems to have a pretty big impact when it hits. The second mouse button is the vengeance, because I click it a lot. I got like this Corsair RGB keyboard, and it switches color on the keyboard when you're in vengeance. So if it switches from blue to red, then I know that I need to click Vengeance again. Then of course we got Sentry, and I got Guardian Turret, and the Guardian Turret removes 25% of damage taken for you and for your allies, but they made it so allies can pretty much not see your turrets, which sucks. But anyway, for yourself, you take 25% less damage when you stand in the shield, and that's great. Vault with Tumble, mainly because it costs a little bit less, so you can do a little bit more vaults. This is a very important one in this build. It's Preparation with Punishment, and this is one of our hatred generators. It restores 75 hatred when you click it, and with the cooldown reductions it's gonna be pretty short cooldown, maybe 12 seconds or so. And Companion, of course, we're gonna use Companions. But this is kind of tricky since it summons all Companions. The Wolf Companion summons 3 wolves, and then the other important one is the Spider. But the Bat instantly gain 50 hatred, so that's the Companion skill is also a hatred generator. So what you do is that you time the Preparation and Companion. When you get low on hatred, use one. When you get low on hatred, use the other one. And keep going like that, and you will be up on hatred most of the time. Of course, we are going with Custom Engineering. Increases the duration of your Caltrops marked for death, Spike Trap and Sentry by 100%. Increase the maximum number of charges of sentries to 3. And yeah, that's great. That means that you can... It doesn't mean you get 3 more sentries, it just means that you can place 3 sentries at once. Then we got Ambush. This is kind of optional, but I do like it. You deal 40% additional damage to enemies above 75% health. Awareness, pretty much a must-have in hardcore, and this is seasonal hardcore in season 9. Yeah, it's another chance to live. I wouldn't go without that one, but it's up to you. This is also optional. Steady aim. As long as there are no enemies within 10 yards, all damage is increased by 20%. You could also go with Blood Vengeance. Your maximum hatred is increased by 25. In addition, gain 30 hatred and 3 discipline when you are healed by Health Globe. That's actually a good one if you are running low on hatred. So moving back to the gear, we do have cooldown reductions. I'm using 5 pieces of the Marauder's Visage, and the reason why I only need to use 5 pieces is because of the Ring of Royal Grandeur. I gotten a few of these in the bounties, when you do the bounties with the bonus chest. Now this one have reduced cooldown of all skills by 8, I think that's max, yes. And that's great. I made sure it has a socket as well, but the real thing with this one is the cooldown reduction and reduce the number of items needed for set bonuses by 1. This allows me to only use 5 pieces in Marauder's Gloves and still get a 6-piece bonus, and that makes me able to use the Cloak of Garwolf, and this makes sure that instead of 1 wolf I get 3, so I get even more companions. This is the maximum that I've been able to find. Let me know if there is a way to get more companions. So the Cloak of Garwolf, this is an ancient one. If you don't have ancient, go with the normal one, and if you don't have the Ring of Royal Grandeur, go with the 6 set bonus in Marauder instead. I put a Vitality in it, and the reason why I'm using the Cloak of Garwolf is because of Zoe's Secret. Now Zoe's Secret reduces damage taken for every companion you have by, in this case, 8.9%. I think that 9 is the max, yes. So that's a huge mitigation factor. So that's a great combination in mixed up with the Marauder set there. It's really taking out the most that I've been able to find out of the toughness there. So we got 361 million, I meant, toughness, and that's like the combined score of health, armor, dodge and stuff like that. Let's see here. Let's start with the stats here. So what you want to go for is life in this case. cooldown reduction and resource cost reductions. So here you can see that I got the biggest gem for cooldown reduction on the helm, and that's pretty much needed to get the vengeance down to 0, so that you can use it when it runs out. I also got reduces cooldown reduction by 8 on the shoulders. I got it on the hands, got it on the ring. I think that's it. I think that's all places except for in the Paragon that I have a cooldown reduction. So you need it on like 3 pieces. Apart from that, it's not really that important what you have on the... You will have to balance this yourself. You're probably not gonna have a 361 million toughness unbuffed when you start this set. It's something that will improve over time. So apart from the Marauder pieces and a lot of vitality gems, I got the Ancestor's Grace, and if you don't have the Ancestor's Grace, I'm only using it because it lets me survive if I die, and I believe that the skill awareness takes in first, and if I die at once after that, this amulet will be consumed. And that's the only reason I'm using it, another chance to survive. Otherwise I would use the amulet that makes you immune against arcane damage, because that's also, I believe, poison is great as well to be immune against, but that's pretty much up to you. The gem I got in it is Bane of the Trapped, and the Bane of the Trapped kinda optional. I like it because it doesn't have a cap on how much damage it does, and the spider does slow everything. And also the game itself slows everything within 15 yards by 30%, so yeah, maybe not the greatest, just trying it out right now. In the Ring of Royal Grandeur I got Mutilation Guard, and this is rank 56 of 100. Gain 38% melee damage reduction while below 50% life. You may move unhindered through enemies, and this is great because when you're below 50% health you're probably stuck somewhere and want to get out, and this allows you to get out. It's a great combination with the game that I got in Credit's Flame. I got Esoteric Alteration. Gain 38.5% in this case, non-physical damage reductions. This is like magic, traps and stuff like that. While below 50% life, your resistance to cold, fire, lightning, poison and arcane are increased by 75%. So when you get down to 50% life, you can move through enemies, and you also take a lot less damage. And this ring is Credit's Flame or Creed's Flame, not sure how to say it. The only reason I'm using it is because it has the ability taking fire damage restores your primary resource. And this actually works with the... what's it called again? The Star of Ascarant. It says it prevents all fire damage, but it still works. You will get your resource, your primary resources when you take fire damage. It's just prevented, but you still get the resources. So that's great. Just stand in an explosion and you will probably get like 50% back in resources. Or if you got mobs firing fire at you, you pretty much don't run out of resources. But that one is optional. You can take whatever you like here. I didn't find any other bracer that's actually useful in this build, since we only have one attack and it's not a generator. We can't use the shield bracer. Just using the cluster arrow here, so I went with the Nemesis bracers. Shrines and pylons will spawn an enemy champion. I think it's great. Greater rifts goes a lot faster, rifts in general. You get a lot more death breath and stuff like that. More items, more chances to get items. But if you are having problems with champions, then maybe this is not the best bracers around. It's got armor and vitality on the pants, nothing special. Did manage to get ancient gloves and pants. On the boats I got increased cluster arrow damage by 15%, that's it. Pretty good roll there, 100 resistance to all, but nothing really special. As a weapon, Manticore is needed in this set. If you want to go with cluster arrow, you can go with other stuff of course, but if you want to go with the cluster arrow, then this is really needed. It increases cluster arrow damage by 74%. I think you can get more, 80%. Okay, so it's like a mid-level roll there on the cluster arrow damage. However, it also reduces the hatred cost of cluster arrow, and this one is 49%, so that's a really good roll since 50 is maximum. And yeah, I got an ancient by re-rolling the stats in the cube. So yeah, I was pretty lucky, but normal Manticore works just as well. This is just better. As a quiver, the Bombardish rucksack is needed in this build. Increases sentry damage by 97%. I think that 100 is the most, yes. And it also increases the amount of sentries you can have by 2. So instead of 3, you can have 2 more sentries, which is 5. And that's great with the set bonus from the Marauder. Your primary skills: Elemental Arrow, Chakram, Impale, Multishot, Cluster Arrow, Companions and Vengeance deal 1200% more increased damage for every active sentry. So that makes 5 and it ends up at 6000% more damage. So how to play this? It's really easy. You're really tanky, so if you play on a level where you can like take the mobs on you and farm until you feel that it's so easy that you can move up to the next level, then you're not gonna die. This is a really tanky build, and it pretty much just cuts through enemies like butter. So in base we have 361 million toughness. In Vengeance we have 720 million toughness. And when standing in the sentry shield we have 964 million toughness. So you want to make sure that when you're facing champions you do want to be within the shield, because it ups your toughness by quite a bit. I can feel my voice giving up a little bit on me here. I'm sorry about that. But that's pretty much the survival tactics there. Stay within a shield, just place one on you when you see that it's either becoming a lot of mobs, it's a boss or a champion, whatever. It's quite a big difference. And you will see here that I can be in Vengeance all the time. There you see, didn't get out of Vengeance and it just refreshed. You want to time the preparation and the companion abilities so that you always have a hatred, and you want to just let the hatred go down quite a bit before you use them, but you will find the timing on your own there. Also make sure that you always have 5 sentries up at the same time. The first 3 is easy. Then it's just to be in Vengeance and keep firing. That's it. It's pretty fun actually. It's has a little bit of tactics. You can attack on different levels and stuff like that, and it does a lot of damage, and it's pretty safe, and that's what I like with it. It's a hardcore character, and this is the most optimal I found in damage and toughness so far. But I'm only playing on I usually play on 12, so level 55 so far. I'm not sure how many levels they are, but I'm probably just half the way, so I can say that this set works at least up to Torment 12. Over that it gets really slow. But that will be it for this time. If you want to see more of these Diablo 3 videos, leave me a thumbs up on this video, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to stay up to date with the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.